As we approach the blessed occasion of al-Adha, this year we have a unique opportunity to come together and make a significant impact on the lives of poor and needy children in Gambia. We invite you to join hands with us in this noble endeavor. Your Qurbani donation will directly contribute to providing these essential meals. By contributing as little as £65, you can ensure that a Qurbani is performed and that the meat reaches these needy children in Gambia. Imagine the joy and relief your contribution will bring to a child and the immense reward you will earn in Jannah for this act of kindness. Inshallah, with Spot Project Qurbani campaign, let's make this Eid al-Adha truly special for the children in Gambia. Donate now, link in the description box below.
This year, give your Qurbani with Spot Project and earn immense reward. Choose from our livestock, cows, goats and sheep, so we can provide quality meals to the orphans, the poor and the families in need this Eid. Qurbani with Spot Project.
Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, I hope you are well. A very strange incident occurred just yesterday on a very large platform. The sold out journalist made numerous attempts to conceal his web of lies, but he was unable to withstand the brutal confrontation of truth. Candace Owens was invited as a guest on Piers Morgan's show to discuss current developments across the world. Piers Morgan questioned Candace about a variety of topics, including why she was fired from the Daily Wire, her harsh tweets about Piers Morgan. However, a particular subject stood out above all others: the 8-month-long onslaught on Palestinians. In response to this inquiry, Candace stated that she is both extremely astonished and outraged by the Western media's hypocrisy and complicity in the events occurring in Palestine. She clarified her argument by stating that occasionally she is exposed on social media about the extreme pain that young children go through, but the media never even dares to investigate the people who are perpetrating these heinous acts in broad daylight. She continued by saying that she could virtually sense Piers' complicity in the terrible situation still facing Palestine, since he's too scared to confront Israeli leaders about their actions. As expected, Piers Morgan responded with the same line that he has been repeating in almost all of his interviews since day one. Israel has an absolute right to defend itself, and he asked Candace why she was silent on October 7th, which it seems is the most horrific and brutal day ever witnessed in history, according to Piers Morgan.
I could have never imagined the amount of dead Palestinian children that I would see on my X feed since then.
It's horrific.
You know, it's heartbreaking to me as a mother. It's horrific to me that the media seems almost complicit in the dehumanization of Palestinians. And I will not be on that side, because at the end of the day, the hit pieces, the name calling, the anti-Semitism, the psychopathic language that seems to be coming out of people means nothing. And I want to make sure everybody knows this, right? At the end of the day, you are going to have to account to God for the things that you allowed, for the things that you were complicit in, and for the things that you did not have enough courage to state.
Okay.
The amount of death of Palestinian children has been unacceptable, full stop.
Okay.
Bibi Netanyahu, in my view, should not be given an invitation to Congress. I think it's unacceptable.
I agree.
Unacceptable.
I don't
and
think
to be clear, for whatever the reason,
shouldn't be leader
when
of
it comes to the topic of Israel, it does seem that journalists are fearful to critique Israel.
Well, I'm not
now,
at
why
all.
is that?
So,
because I would say, Piers, that you too, you seem a little fearful to critique Israel and to want to always seem that you're coming across a little bit understanding of everything they're doing. What is it that makes journalists, corporate journalists,
let me respond.
fearful of saying, hey, you know, Israel has done a ton of things that have been very wrong?
Yes, and I have said they're wrong. I think Netanyahu should go. I think half of that cabinet should go, because some of them have definitely been using genocidal language. I think a lot of what Israel's been doing in the last few weeks is completely unacceptable. But ultimately, I also, from the start of this conflict, believe that Israel not only had a right to defend itself after the terror attack on October the 7th, but a fundamental duty to its people. And here's where I'm just curious about your tweeting through this procedure, this whole war, because on October the 7th, you didn't tweet anything. You didn't tweet anything on October the 8th. And October the 9th, you tweeted, so much world peace ever since we got the orange man out of office. So glad the adults are back in charge. A lot of people say, well, if you care this much about innocent people being killed, why didn't you say anything when 1,200 people were massacred to death in the most brutal, barbaric manner in this awful terror attack by Hamas, and nearly 7,000 more were wounded, some of them catastrophically and irreparably. Why did that not compel you to say anything?
Well, first and foremost, Israel's a foreign country. So typically I talk about topics that have to do with America. Secondly, you're only quoting my Twitter feed. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. I also had a daily podcast in which I did respond directly about what happened and called the events horrific. Multiple times, said what Hamas did was absolutely horrific.
Does Piers even know that repeatedly making the same claim portrays him to his own audience as completely sold out? While Piers Morgan tries to portray himself as completely unbiased when it comes to this ongoing onslaught, it is obvious that his job is to defend Israel and corner every pro-Palestinian voice that appears on his show. Candace, on the other hand, had the courage to walk away from her job at the Daily Wire because she was unable to sell her soul and conscience for some worldly benefits and defend the horrific actions of Israel. While confronting Piers Morgan, Candace Owens also made a very significant point. Everyone in the media and elsewhere who attempts to defend the terrible cruelty of these young children will eventually have to answer to God. As is well known, Candace Owens is a devoted Christian, but the argument she raised is actually one of the fundamental tenets of Islam, which is to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala well is aware of one's deeds. Today, if these fake journalists, Hollywood celebrities, high-ranking politicians, or any other person who has all the power of the world is standing and defending the oppression, then one day will arrive when they will be standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and on that day they will be questioned about these very deeds that they used to do in this world. Regretfully, those who were living their lives through lies would find that day to be quite challenging with these striking words. Candace Owens effectively threatened Piers Morgan and all other sold-out personalities, telling them that they now had two options. Either they should be afraid of the Lord of the world, or they should be afraid of the Israelis and continue to support the atrocities. It's up to them to decide. May Allah end the suffering of the Palestinians. Ameen.